Hey Taurus, welcome to your weekly reading for the week of the 10th of February to the 16th of February. So we have Valentine's this week as well, which I didn't realize when I first started recording, and a lot of relationship was coming up for Aries, which I have recorded already. So if you do have Aries in your chart, head on over there and see what that means for you. I am using my Archangel Michael deck. This is a deck that I started using when I very first started doing readings a good 8 years or so ago now, probably longer than that, nearly 9 or 10. One more, hang on. And one more. Okay. So yeah, I'm really in tune with this deck and I am actually enjoying using it. I don't always lean for this one fast, but whenever I grab them and use them, it's just like coming home. Anyway, so the very first card in our position for this week for us Taurus is it's time to leave this unhealthy situation. Now this card can mean very literal. It's time to get out of toxic vibes, leave that relationship or leave that workplace, let them friendships go. It can also mean a very kind of healthy thing to do would be to release yourself of any negative, anything toxic influences to you right now. Now this card to me represents a little bit like the devil card energy, where it's about releasing things that are toxic to us, whether it be bad habits, anything really that is negative to our well-being. It's time to leave this situation and move on to something better. I do feel like we're in this transition period for us Taurus, where we are moving forward towards things that are more suited for us, and that means releasing and letting go of things that no longer serve. I know that's not something we naturally like to do, but it's something that always benefits us Taurus in doing so. The next card is Shield Yourself, so this may be a period of releasing. Given that this is this week of relationships, of love, this could generally mean as well for you, if you specifically need some guidance on a relationship, it's just not working or you're not getting what you want from it, it could potentially be the time to let it go and move on. But again, shield yourself during this time. So this could mean that you have a lot of emotions. I feel when this card comes up, there's a lot of vulnerable feelings, and it's, shield that energy, make sure it's not impacting you in a way, again, that is toxic and negative to you, because again, we're releasing and letting go of what is toxic to us during this time. This also can mean to ensure that we are protecting ourselves from outside influence. Again, there's a lot of noise, and if we're getting distracted with the opinions or views or just anything that's distracting that is others and not ours, it can really bring you down to a vulnerable level, whereas having those shields up and not allowing that to impact you will keep you on track in what's in alignment with you. We have self-respect next, which again, with these three being together, to me, it's all about making sure you're nurturing the self and taking care of what's in here. Again, what's going in, but what you're letting out, in terms of, remember that we are manifesting what we put out into the world, and what we put out to the world is what we have going on internally. If we are putting out all insecurities, fears, sadness, grief, and holding on to that like our life depends on it, that's the energy we're sitting in. That's what we're telling the world and the universe, the energy is that, this is what I am, this is how I exist, this is the energy that we're in. And they're supporting that, like, okay, sure. And we don't want that. So again, self-respect comes to remind us to nurture and nourish who we are and respect the self. You are the most important person in your entire life. You're the person that's with you from birth to finish. If you look at yourself from a separate entity, then just your inner monologue, or whatever it is that you have. I know not all of us have one, apparently, weirdos. But it's about looking objectively at the self and realizing, you really are the person you should be nourishing and nurturing most above others. And I don't mean selfishly being like egotistical, like I'm the best. It's about knowing, you are important, you matter, and making sure that you are putting that into effect in your life, because again, a whole you, a happy you, a you that is comfortable in your world is one that's working in the best favor for everybody in your life as well. That includes children, loved ones, family, friends. When you're your best self, you're the best self for them. So remembering that when it comes to self-respect, honor and trust yourself above others, I would say. Pay attention to your dreams. This card comes to say that you are very intuitive during this time and you're being given messages. It generally means, that in your dreams you may be given signs, and also it's good to remember that we don't always remember our dreams, and it is often said that even though if we don't remember a dream, it is because we are not ready for the information it has to give us. So in the waking hours, we're not really at that energetic level to understand the messages. However, subconsciously, those messages have been received, and they are within you. So trust in your vibes and how you're feeling, because you have been supported, you have been given there's different ways of looking at this, but depending on your belief system, right? If you are believing in more of a religious aspect, then we can say that the angels, the gods, your God is giving you messages in your sleep that's helping program you towards your direction, your life path. If you're more along the lines of believing in programming and frequencies, it's like you're given the frequencies that you need in order to level up spiritually, and to trust and have faith in that. But also if you are remembering the dreams, to kind of see that messages that are there for you. But again, trusting in your intuition is more of the key factor here. We have self-respect, and then be gentle with yourself either side of this card. So it could be that there are some deep things that you're going through at the moment, and this can mean a spiritual evolution as well. When we are going through an awakening, we are quite vulnerable and we are quite susceptible to the energies of others, or the energies that are just around at the moment. So being that we have some really, really, really intense energy at the moment, this could again make you feel in a heightened state. So just be aware that you need to be gentle with yourself and protect yourself. Now this be gentle with yourself card is even more like being kind to yourself, being compassionate, and giving yourself that compassion that you would offer somebody else who was potentially in a more vulnerable state. For example, if there was a baby lamb on the street that was injured, that giving it the energy you would that to the self, you would make sure that it's safe off the road, maybe take it to someone who cares, or give someone a call to let them know that it's there. You may take it in yourself and nurture it till it's strong and healed, that kind of energy, giving it to yourself and understanding again that you matter, you are important, and if you are feeling vulnerable, taking a moment for yourself is not selfish. So yeah, I'm getting self-love vibes on this top row. Let go of fear now. Now, if you have Aries in your signs, which I definitely do in my top, Taurus, Aries, then Cancer, then go on over there, because this is in the exact same position of let go of fear now. This is about living in the moment and understanding. With this card, it's like favorable outcome kind of energy as well. It means, things are going the way they should. So trust in the process. So have faith, trust. But letting go of fear now means letting go of the things that are hindering you. Now remember that fears are things that we make up. It's what the brain deciphers what is healthy for us and what's not. However, these days we have so much anxiety. We're on the brink of fight and flight response. So we're not acting on natural basic instinct. We're acting on heightened instincts, such as irrational, impulsive, the kind of unhealthy level of fears, right? But they're things that your brain's made up as a self-protection. However, there's a time and a place for these things. And if you are someone who is living in more of a stressful environment, or just had a period of time where you've been stressed and you're still healing, we're all at our own journey, all at our own pace. This is sort of saying now is the time to just trust and decipher what is an actual protective thing, i.e. don't touch fire because it'll burn you, and what is something that's hindering you, i.e. don't go out to the social event, because what if people talk to you and you get attached to someone and then they eventually break your heart, because friends never last, that kind of vibe. That is not a real genuine fear that you need to hold close to your chest. It's a learnt fear that you've managed to make true, a self-prophecy, rather than something that's authentically real, because every person, every energy is not going to interact with you the same way that past has. And even if things do cycle and come to an end, does not mean that you didn't learn a whole lot there. Make some great growth there. Had a person who you could stand by for 10 years. Imagine having someone stand by you for 10 years, having 10 years of greatness, and then the relationship comes to an end, friendships come to an end. You still had all that great stuff. that helped you grow, that gave you great experiences, happiness, joy, love. Let's not allow the fears that we build as a self-protection because we don't want to go through the bad time, that one instant minute that really destroyed the entire goodness. Destroy the goodness, because that goodness is worth having in our life even for a moment. Go forward fearlessly. So we have let go of fear now and go forward fearlessly. This is a go. This is an action. We have 2 cards that do represent a favorable outcome, meaning you're on the right path, you're doing the right things, trust in the process, have faith. And it's both of these are about releasing, along with the very first card saying, it's time to leave this toxic. It's about releasing, letting go. And I do get this sense of actually letting yourself go, in the sense of dropping those walls down. Definitely taking action is a time. I feel if you have something in your line of sight, and this is very intuitive as well, I feel like you just know what you need to be doing right now. It's trusting and just going for it. Taking a risk is what I feel with this. These both cards give that kind of night energy of taking a risk and going forward, and heading towards a direction that you feel is authentic to you and where you want to be. Even if you're not getting the immediate results, I would say it is a time to put yourself out there. Guarded and protected sort of insinuates to me that you are guarded and protected in this endeavor, meaning that it is a safe risk to take. So again, have the faith that this is a safe risk to take, to just jump out and take a risk in yourself, trust in yourself, and again, being gentle with yourself, because when we take risks, when there's something, sometimes even the most simplest of things have the highest risk to us because it means so much to us that we fear the failure. And a fear of failure can really stop us from actually going for something that we wish to have, which again is a bigger failure. You fail in yourself if you're not allowing yourself to take a risk for something great. So again, just protecting that energy, but knowing that this is protected and this is what you're meant to be doing. Again, trusting the intuition, trusting in what feels right now. And again, not allowing the outside influences to impact our decisions. You have created this situation. You have the power to change. This card is saying you're in charge. So let's take charge. It is a card where she is, whenever I do this, it takes the light from my face, but here is this card. She is creating something. She's bringing something into reality. And that is exactly what this represents of you manifesting. It's saying the energy that you're in is manifesting the world that you are wanting. So make sure what you're putting out there is at least baby steps towards it. Again, masterpieces are created when like if you watch an artist who does very fine details of anything, I always find it really fascinating when the very first paint to paper that you see them put up looks like something that I could do. Like, you're like, all right, well, that's the kind of painting I do, so this is going to end up rubbish. You're watching them reels and you're like, okay, you get sucked in, and then they just somehow make these blobs and turn it into really fine art where there's so much detail, obviously something beyond what I feel my capacity is, and you're like, wow, that is amazing. But they started off with a blob. We're all starting off with a blob. But if we have the power to create and shift and change our blob into our own version of our own authentic creation, and that is where you're at right now. You are at the crafting table and you are starting to pave the way. So I need you to remember that have a vision, but live in the moment in the creating process. That yes, when you start, it might be rough and ready. And as a Taurus, and I can use myself as this exact example, I am starting to do readings again, and it brings up all the nerves and anxieties of whether or not I could make this successful for myself. It's something I really enjoy and that I would like to, but it's nerve-wracking. It's putting yourself out there. It's having to not be perfect in this moment because I don't have a full setup. I'm literally in my bedroom right now with a freaking piece of cloth behind me, which isn't ironed because I don't have an iron because I used the iron to craft something, and now it's not ironable on clothes or fabric without having to get wax all over it. So I don't have it, and I could be picking on the really small imperfections. Like last week when I was recording, I realized I really overlined my lips, and I'm watching all of these second loads of recordings that I did, and I could have gone, I can't do this. I made myself so stressed, made myself re-record, and I just didn't have the time for it because I was jumping in, taking a risk, and just starting something up. And that's the whole point. I feel like we need to get a little messy because you will fine tune it as you go along. I'm going to get better in my approach with how I get into my routines with recording, of how that works for me in my life. My youngest has just gone to school, so this is why I'm taking this moment to really put my all into it. But again, I'm starting from a fresh space. I'm a new ingredient. I'm different to how I was when I very, very first started, even in relationship status, in my life, where I am now in my life, the house I'm in, where I am in just absolutely all areas. I'm in a totally different space to when I very first started recording. And I have to realize that in itself is a strength. It's a benefit. I've learned so much in my changes, and so this is the key ingredient for me to start at this point in my life with something that I'm passionate about. And I'm telling you all of this, Taurus, because it's very relevant to the same energy that you're in, because we're in the same boat. We are both all Tauruses, and yeah, we have the ability to craft what we want. Decide to be happy now is next, and this card is saying to live in the moment. It's about appreciating where you are right now, but again, it's about not focusing and waiting to start something. It's literally just what I was saying. That always happens when we're doing these things. I say something and then it leads to be what we actually need to read, of course, because I'm in my reading. But it's basically saying that now is the time. So we can wait forever, we can wait till next week, and maybe the time will be more perfect. And that energy I was definitely in last year, like having my son at home. It's just so difficult to record having children at home. Now he's at school, I feel like I'm ready, but I kept feeling like I was always saying, maybe when he's at school this will be it, maybe next week. Like I wanted to start in January. I like how I've done it now because again, it's the lunar cycle and I do follow the patterns of the moon. So it makes sense to start now, but at the same time I was so anxious to just dip my feet in because I felt this drive to get started, to doing something, right? And so I felt like I was just putting it up. There's always something getting in the way. And even like now, my mum asked me today, would you like to come for a massage? And my shoulders and my back are so tense lately from the period of school holidays and that I've just had. And I'm like, no, priorities. I need to be in the now. I need to be doing this because I can put it off for another thing, or I can just do it now. And this is saying that decide to be happy now is a do it now. But again, do the things you enjoy. It is about, again, appreciating the moment and enjoying each day in the now and not waiting to the future to enjoy something. So again, this is also saying less stress, more creation, more happiness, more joy. So if we can be implementing that in our day-to-day, that would be amazing. I'm definitely doing that for myself in terms of reading. I'm really loving reading. I'm a fantasy girl. I like to write and read fantasy. And yeah, I'm just delving straight into the books, and that's what I'm giving myself to enjoy in the moment, because I have not been able to read for like 12 years since having children. just the mental space of just not being in that, and I'm loving that I'm reading book after book after book after book, and it's like, this is who I am, yay, finally, buddy, about time. Right, Taurus? This is your life's purpose. This, again, very similar to Aries energy, because so if you have Aries in your chart, I would suggest going over there and checking out their weekly as well. Same exact position, and they've had quite a few of these cards similarities. This is your life purpose is a card, again, that's saying you're on the right path. You've got 3 of these that are saying you're on the right path. So have faith in that, but it's also saying trust in what you're feeling, trust in your intuition and what's guiding you forward. It is about holding a purpose close to you and kind of letting that align you with who you are and where you're heading. So again, decisions that you're making, let it come from an authentic space based on what it is that you want right now for you. And I think as well, as I say that, what pops into my mind is that if it doesn't make sense to others, it doesn't matter, because this is in alignment with you and where you're heading. Only you need to make sense of it during this time, because you're the one that's taking action moving forward, not other people. So again, shielding yourself from other people's opinions and respecting yourself and yours. Your children are watched over by angels, and this is paired with another. I picked these 2 up together just now. Admit the truth to yourself and act accordingly. So firstly, on the first card, your children are watched over by angels is a very literal card. If you have children, that your children are safe. So if you have worries in regards to family, loved ones, children, young ones, it is sort of saying, they are guarded, they are protected, and they're on their journey with their guardians and their guides guiding them on their path. So again, if you do have concerns, it's saying don't worry, kind of release those worries. It also can represent the self. And with this being a very nurturing time, nurturing reading, I feel there's a lot of self-love in this. And there's a lot more self-love in this. Like in Aries, I feel it's focused on relationships. This feels on the relationship with the self for us Taurus, which I'm kind of loving because it's about freaking time we stop worrying about relationships with other people. Anyway, this is saying the inner child of yourself is protected, is guarded during this time. So, you know, nurture the self and love the self. You are who you are because of the experiences, not only the experiences you've been through, but how you overcame them and how you use them in your life to shape what you have now, and also you'll continue to do so moving forward. And I feel like there's a lot of strength for us to see there. Admit to yourself and admit the truth to yourself and act accordingly. It's kind of like see things for how they are and just accept it at face value. And I think actually, as I touch on this, I do want to touch on relationships for 1 minute. Trust in what you know. The words they're saying is what they're saying. The actions they're doing is what they're doing. So it's time for us to stop thinking that maybe they will change. Maybe they're saying things because they're angry, they're sad, they're going through their own stuff. No, they've said it. That's what they've said. Admit the truth. The truth is what we know. The truth is not what we don't know. And I think that we have this ability to really kind of trust in what we don't know. We do know it deep down, not trusting what is being shown to us, whether they're a good person or not. If they're not showing us that they're a good person and they're not being a good person to you, it's telling you exactly what you need to know. And I think that is something that we do need to know during this time in regards to relationships. Stop hanging on to something and making that a priority when, again, the self is priority right now in terms of our goals. Maybe we have a goal aside from relationships that we need to be focusing on. And relationships have this way of, being Venus being our ruling planet, has a way of bringing us into orbit with the relationship and takes us away from where we need to be. And I do think that relationships are not meant to be our sole priority, our sole thing right now. I can't find the word. So admit the truth to yourself and act accordingly. Hope that makes sense for you, Taurus. Okay, the last one. Forgive yourself. You've done nothing wrong. This is the third card that means this, and it is really accentuating, really rounding it up that you do need to forgive yourself and realize that you are acting in the way that is you dealing with the situation at hand. So again, I don't want us to be bullying ourselves, beating ourselves up about the small stuff. What matters is that we're doing the best that we can, and that is our strength, that we do that. We do plod along. We do find the strength within ourselves to make it further, and I think that's a really great strength for us to really embrace, but also realize that for me personally, and I'll use myself as an example again, Taurus, to really show what I mean with this energy. I started to resent being resilient. I started to resent that I can take myself away from a situation and look at it objectively, really resent that that's what I have to do and that nobody else does it. Like, this is my mindset that I'm talking about. This is my trauma that I was sort of dealing with. It's like feeling like it's a burden that I always have to carry, and it was just really feeling resentment, a lot of negative towards this. And then when I actually look at it really from a really clear space, the things that I love about myself, I love that no matter what, I will still make it through. I will still be okay. I will still find a way. Even when I feel like there's absolutely no hope, where I've been there, I still find this way. Actually, I used to resent literally hope. I feel like I'm such a hopeful person that even when all the odds are against me and everything bad is happening, I have this glimmer of hope, because I know that things will cycle around and things will be okay. Now, I really kind of beat myself up at being that type of person. I just why are you like this? Just admit defeat. Be defeated. And I won't. I refuse, right? Because we're stubborn as a bull. And that's the thing, though. We can take the good things from ourselves, which are the strengths, are the things that get us kicking ass in areas of our lives when we let them be a part of who we are, when we accept that that's who we are, and that is beautifully authentic and unique to ourselves, our own makeup, our own thing. And I feel like by me telling you this and my version of myself, it's this is exactly what we want to prevent from happening. We need to be nurturing and nourishing those aspects of ourselves, because that is part of our goal orientation this year, where we are wanting certain things, the only way we're going to do that is by accepting and loving and nurturing the parts of ourselves that are going to make that happen. And that's, where this is at. It's telling us to love. The two cards right next to this have a halo around the head. I want us to be focusing on self, of who we are. I feel like it's like literally having a reminder of, remember who you are, bitch, because that's who you are. And we're going to use this to our full capacity to get to where we need to be. So thank you, Taurus, for being here. Please subscribe to my channel to stay in touch with me for all of our weeklies and monthlies for this year. I really look forward to spending this year with you. Thank you guys for being here.